Yo, what up? Peace, family. Peace to everybody out there. This your man, King Lou is Allah. Just want to say what's up. Um, I'm gonna be real brief with this one. It's been troubling me. This video is gonna be about OJ, Orenthal James Simpson. People, white people and black people, think that OJ is guilty. That he did it. Um, that's not true. OJ is innocent, and not because he was found so in a court of law, but he actually didn't do it. Um, it's a book he wrote, and I think it's called "If I Did It." Now with several books out there written by his legal team and himself, but um, one of the key points that stood out to me back, I read the book or I listened to the audio book like, oh, damn, could be 10 years ago, and it showed him in Chicago after, or he was in Chicago the same time the murder was being committed. Um, you can check the TV show with Cuba. You know, uh, I do believe Cuba answered the phone in a Chicago hotel room, and that's where OJ was in a Chicago hotel room. The police called him from California, and he answered the phone in Chicago. So if you want to prove him guilty, I've been learning some things, and it's called time of death. For forensic science and mortuary science can determine a person's time of death based on the temperature of the liver and the last time you saw that person living. So OJ had a prearranged interview in Chicago. He was interviewing to be a sports analyst, and I guess he was gonna play some golf or something out there. And him and his longtime assistant boarded a commercial flight to Chicago. Now I don't know what time he left California, but you have to take into account travel time from California to Chicago. And I'm guessing. I guess it's about 4, 5, 6 hours. So he was on a commercial flight, and the last time someone saw Nicole Simpson and Ron Brown alive was, I guess after they left their OJ's and Nicole children's uh, school recital, and then I guess they went to a restaurant, and I guess OJ peeled off there and went to go get ready to go to Chicago. Now, Johnny Cochran and his legal defense team knew this, and they told the police this, but the police chose to charge OJ anyway. Now, some people say, he could have did it before he left, but that's what I'm saying. We don't know those times. We don't know his departure time from California to Chicago. Now I can, I'm going to assume and say, his departure time may conflict with the time of the murder, and so it was no way he could have done it. They took a commercial flight. They was in LAX or some California airport on a plane with many people. So you know he didn't do it. You know, and so you got witnesses that can say she was alive at the time he was probably in the airport waiting or departing California. And so, you know, it's he couldn't be in two places at one time. Some people say, well, he had it done because he knew he was leaving. What was his purpose? He bought, they were estranged and separated, but they were on civil cordial terms. He bought her that house. He didn't have to buy the house. From what I understand, they they hadn't even started the divorce proceedings. So, he bought her the house and was, still supporting her. Uh, you know, he had a another girlfriend, and he was dating her, so he wasn't obsessed with Nicole Brown Simpson. Um, so he didn't do it. What I mean. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot of things that that come out now that look like the police really tried to frame OJ. For instance, Mark Fuhrman, uh, all his testimony was discredited because he lied. They asked him, has he ever said the N word? He said no. They produced a tape showing him talking about. They produced an audio tape where he was talking about black people being niggas, and I think he said something about monkeys and jungle and niggas. So he was a very racist police officer, and he had been called to the Brentwood home on more than one occasion to deal with Nicole and OJ's uh, um, domestic cause. So he was familiar with their relationship. Mark Fuhrman was, and so when they were murdered, he was the first at Brentwood. He was the first. They say he was the first at Brentwood, the first officer to see the Bronco, to discover the blood. Well, if you already have in mind a preconception that he was gonna kill her, but he didn't, and so it looked like you were just trying to make it look like he did it more by planting the blood. The famous Bruno Magli shoes. The television show says this, and all the book says this. The police, seasoned detectives, the detectives that called him from California in Chicago, where he answered the phone, um, they took the shoes home. They got the shoes from his house and took them home and left the shoes in the trunk. And then, and so that's a breach of protocol. That's a breach of police procedure. You're supposed to take evidence from the crime scene straight to the police department, but they took the evidence. A crucial piece of evidence stayed in a homicide detective's car overnight, and that was a breach of protocol. And so now that I think about it, I had time to think about it, it looked like they was really trying to frame OJ. So you know, he didn't. I don't think he did it, man. And so what was the low speed chase about? I don't know. Maybe he was like they really trying to, you know, frame him, and I guess he was just tripping out his mind. But what does it for me? He was in um Chicago, so you know that's all I want. That's all I want to say, man. OJ ain't do it. I'm out. Peace.